Is retail dead, or are you being a mess and staying at your physical location for too long? My name is Kalila, and welcome back to my channel where I help entrepreneurs clean up their business mess and their personal life's mess. Y'all know what to do. Like, comment, and subscribe. Right now, there are so many businesses that are closing their physical location.
As a lot of you all may know, especially if you're on our mailing list and our SMS list, but we announced on January 26th that we are going to be closing our Baltimore store.
I'm closing my business after 14 years. Welcome to episode 1 of Closing a Brand in 90 Days.
So I did something I never thought I'd actually do. I said goodbye to my dream. And not only because it wasn't working, at least not in the way you might think.
I was fighting and trying my best to not be on that list, but this week I closed the doors and it was a mess. So I have had my clothing apparel brand Mess in a Bottle for the last 10 years. And for the last 5 of those years, I've had a retail space in the Mount Vernon area of Baltimore, Maryland, and we had to close. That is just the reality of the times that we are currently in. So many major retailers are closing their doors. So why do you think that you are exempt from it? Being a small business owner and being a small Black-owned business and being a small woman-owned business, I think that there is some pressure that you need to stay open. You got to fight for this. And I'm here to tell you, girl, do what's best for you. Don't let the internet streets keep you open, because it will cost you, and it might cost you your whole business. And that almost happened to me. Started my business in my house, and I was really excited to move out into my retail space. So if you are an entrepreneur and you are trying to figure out, should you get a brick and mortar, you need to know your reasons why, and it needs to actually make sense. So here are the 3 reasons that I got my physical brick and mortar space. 1, I needed help with my operations. Because I needed help and I was doing it in my house, I didn't want strangers, people I was hiring to do work for me, to be in my home. So I wanted a physical space so I could get help with operations. Number 2, I wanted my business model to include like retail shopping and for me to be able to do like pop-up shops. So because I needed to do that, I couldn't do it from home. And so that's the second reason that I wanted to get a retail space. Number 3, I was scaling. I was starting to do a lot of production, a lot of numbers, and I was really growing out of my home. So you need to have, I think, a strong why, and the numbers need to prove to you that you have outgrown your at-home business. Once you figured out your true why and why you want a brick and mortar, it's now time to get it and to be able to pay for it. I got my brick and mortar location in sort of like not downtown Baltimore. I got it downtown adjacent. That matters because of the financial cost. So being downtown Baltimore, the rent is around $6,000 to $10,000 for a retail space. Being in Mount Vernon, Baltimore, you can pay maybe around $2,000 to $5,000 for a really decent size space. And that's what I did. I got a physical location that was 3,000 square feet, and it was 2 separate spaces that I merged and made into one. One side was the retail, showroom, pop-up shop area. The other side was the operations, production, fulfillment area. So those 2 parts would equal the Mess in a Bottle studio space. So I was really excited to have my shop. And I think just like other major retailers, you want a physical location, because there's nothing like seeing your name of your business plastered on a wall or on a space, and you're like, that is mine. But I want you to really think about the financial ramifications that come with having a brick and mortar physical space. So let's break down the financials. One, you have to think about the overhead. Having a brick and mortar does not just mean that you're paying rent. So I had my rent, which was $3,000 a month. Plus I had a storage space, and I had business insurance, and I had utilities. So let's just say those other things are about an additional $1,000. So my overhead was $4,000 a month, which totaled to $48,000 a year. So in the grand scheme of things, when you're looking at it and you're like, okay, $4,000, if your business is making 6 figures a month, that's not bad. Even if you're making 5 figures a month, 4,000 isn't bad, and it's not. But there are other costs to actually operate your business, whether that's employees, whether that's liability insurance, whether that is, shipping costs, and things are a mess right now. Everything is increasing. So you have to really consider if the cost to operate your business and having a physical location, if they truly still align. Let's talk about the emotional toll. So a lot of people, when you have a physical space, I think that it gives your business like this notoriety. Like people are like, yes, okay, you got your space. It sounds good until it no longer feels good financially and emotionally. I remember going back to my space at times felt heavy. Because if your business isn't running right, if things are a mess, you start to almost resent going back to this space. And it was definitely a heavy feeling. And even when you are now going to close your space, that too feels emotionally hard. I think that the only way that I could describe having a physical space and then closing it, it feels like a breakup. It feels like you and your partner are now having to separate assets. You have to get rid of things. It feels like a bad breakup. When things are good, they are good.
Tell them if they wanted it, they should have ate it. Sorry, Phoebe.
Hayden, it's not hugging time.
You might kill me.
Let's go. Ready?
Y'all.
I know that there was so many like happy moments, so many good times, so many things that we were able to share in that space. So breaking up with it and closing it felt like a heartbreak. It really felt like I was breaking up with somebody. I had to now throw things away that I didn't want to throw away. And you put so much love into a physical space that you're like, I don't want to give this up. But I'll tell you, if you go back to the financial part and you start to think about how much of an assets versus a liability you are in with keeping this space, you'll have to just break up with them. You'll just have to break up with the space, because if it no longer serves you, if it no longer aligns with you emotionally, physically, and I was in a space in which I've had a new baby, you have to think about the emotional toll. Also, what impacts your space and your business and everything else is also market change. Right now, the economy is a mess. You have gas prices through the roof. You have grocery prices through the roof. And that is going to change how consumers shop. And that's what's happening with a lot of retailers right now. So one of the first things that you need to look at and assess where you could cut costs. So you have to think about, Is your physical space, can it pay for itself? So some of the different ways that I was going to transform my space or try to transform my space into a new space was by having it be more of a co-use space, as well as having I was teaching classes in my space. So that's 100% cotton. And so how you print, like you have to think about cost.
When you get tote bags and what hats.
Yep,
and
you
stuff.
get tote bags, you get, all of like all the blank product, you could get it from there. In addition, I tried something called Mess and Mingle, where I had people come to print in my space.
What is like book busy your last period?
Oh yeah. And I think there's some that say a little bougie.
A little bougie is really cute.
Yes. That is it.
So I think one of the things that I wish I did was I wish I tried to pivot faster. So if I could give any entrepreneur out there with a brick and mortar space, trying like in limbo, unsure if they're keeping going or, deciding to close, if you are even having those thoughts, you want to pivot your business model faster. At one point, I was more focused on my shipping, fulfillment, but once those areas started to slow down and once things started to change within my business, I should have quickly changed my business model and my revenue model and not just focus solely on my e-commerce. I should have focused on now these other revenue streams, and I did that, but I didn't do it fast enough. I started knocking down walls and renovating the space and pouring into the space, but those were not viable things that I could do to actually increase my revenue and my profit margins fast enough to sustain and keep the space. What do they say? Hire slow, fire fast? I'm going to tell you, pivot fast. Cut your losses fast. If you think that things are not going the way that they once was, shift your business model, shift your revenue model, try different things quicker. Then if it's not working, you have to pull the trigger on major things and cut them fast. So where am I now? I am shifting and I'm doing something that I didn't think I would ever do. I'm bringing my business back into my house. I think the difference now, though, with me bringing my business back into my house is that I have boundaries. I have a model in which I am not going to be working late at night. And I think that coming back and bringing my business back into my house works this time around, mainly because I also have children that need my attention after school for homework, as well as my daughter is a toddler. She needs more of my attention as well. So this is going to allow me to hopefully have that work-life balance that I was struggling with, with having a physical location. I'm telling you a lot of this because I think emotionally, I don't want you to resent your business. That can happen because if you are feeling a lot of financial strain from like your space or, having to pay a landlord and certain things, and if you are having difficulty, it may now start to become where you get angry, resentful, and you don't even want to go into the physical space. And I don't want that for you. If you are an entrepreneur and you're thinking about either closing your physical space, some things that I need you to do: assess, is your physical space worth it? Like right now, is there any type of revenue model that you can change or do that is not going to be overwhelming, that, can you do something that it can either be a shared space or something that can alleviate some of the cost and help you stay in that space? Number 2, I need you to be true to yourself and decide, is cutting your loss the best bet? Should you just close your space, and is there a way that you can, operate and not have a physical space? Number 3, assess the emotional toll this is all taking on you, because that is going to truly give you the answer to figure out if you should keep your space or not. So retail may not be dead, but retail 100% is changing, and you need to change too before it becomes a mess.